Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna, and here we talk about all things motherhood. I've been looking back at my channel and the videos I've already made and the ones that have been most popular with you and the ones that you guys have reacted the best to, and I realized it was by far that postpartum depression video I made a while back. As I rewatched that video, I realized it was a pretty good video. I mean, it gave you guys a lot of information, but what I didn't really say is how to tell if you have postpartum depression. If you can relate to the feelings I express in that video, then that helps out a lot. But how do you actually self-diagnose postpartum depression or rage or anxiety? What do we need to look for when we're moms? What do we need to be aware of? What should we tell our partners to look out for? What are the things that we can look out for and say, yes, this is definitely postpartum depression and not baby blues? So today, that's what this video is going to be all about, how to actually self-diagnose postpartum depression. The first thing I want to address is what the nurses tell you at the hospital and potentially what your OBGYN will tell you or has told you. I think it's sadly lacking in the postpartum depression area. If your experience was anything like mine, then you got very little information about postpartum depression, and what you did get was pretty vague and not substantial. For example, the phrases you will normally hear by various people after giving birth are, if you just feel so sad all the time, or you feel like you can't get out of bed, then you should come in, you probably have postpartum depression. Two things. Those were the two things I was told. If I feel sad all the time and I'm crying all the time, or if I feel like I can't get out of bed. If those two things are present, then I have postpartum depression and I should go see my doctor. Well, guess what? For 6 months, I didn't struggle with either of those things, but I had postpartum depression or rage for those 6 months. So that wasn't very helpful for me, and I'm concerned it's not very helpful for the majority of mothers out there who could be having postpartum depression. So what should we be looking for? What aspects of our life point towards us needing to go to the doctor and get checked out? Before I get into it, I want to recommend a doctor that has an Instagram page. Her name is Dr. Pickering, and her handle is @momdocpsychology, and I will link that in the description box below. There should be like a little gray arrow here that you can click on, and that's the description box, and that's where I will link her Instagram. So check that out if you are a new mom or any mom and are looking for help with your mental stability and just your mental health. Check out her Instagram page. It has helped me a bunch, and I'm not even struggling with postpartum depression right now. Some of the things I mentioned today are also on her page, so check that out. It's very helpful. All right, let's get down to it then. What do we need to look out for? I've got a list. It's as detailed as I think I could come up with, and I'm just going to list them here as I speak. So I better scoot over. So right away, I will put those first two that the nurses will tell you. If you are crying and sad all the time, then yes, that can be a symptom of postpartum depression. And if you feel like you just can't get out of bed in the morning, you have no energy, you have no desire to do anything, you just have no gumption, no will to get up and do things, then yes, that is another symptom of postpartum depression. But that first one, the overwhelming sadness and crying, is really just a smaller part of a bigger symptom, which is having one emotion or feeling just override all other emotions or feelings. It's when one negative emotion becomes your primary emotion, your primary state of being. So for many people in postpartum depression, that is sadness. Sadness becomes your primary feeling, your primary state. That is where you're at all the time. It's not just I feel sad at certain times or I feel sad when things are sad. It's I'm just always sad. I just always feel sad. But it's not just sadness. That can be anger, as it was for me. I wasn't just angry when Heidi was crying in the middle of the night. I wasn't just angry when I stubbed my toe or when something didn't go right or when I was overwhelmed or when I couldn't handle something. I was in a constant state of anger. I was angry making breakfast and lunch and dinner. I was angry doing chores. I was angry laying on the couch doing nothing. I was angry listening to music I liked. I was angry reading books that I liked. Everything I did, I slept angry. I took showers angry. Every single thing I did, I was still angry. I could not shake it. That rage, that anger I had wasn't just during the bad times, I constantly had it. That is an example of one of those primary feelings that you cannot shake. Another example could be anxiety. Some moms are just crippled with anxiety. Anxiety is being worried about what's coming up and what you can't handle. And moms, a lot of us, we have some anxiety because what is coming up with our children, and can we actually handle anything when it comes to them? Who knows? But for mothers with postpartum anxiety, it's focused in every aspect of their life. They are feeling that anxiety when they do anything, whatever they're doing. It might wake them up out of breath in the middle of the night. They might have trouble breathing just as they're driving down the road or picking up groceries or cleaning the house just because they're so worried and anxious about what is happening. They might not even be able to place what is making them anxious or what is even making them out of breath. And that's a side note. A lot of times anxiety can show up as trouble breathing or shortness of breath. So if you are noticing that as a new mom and you're also noticing worry and anxiety all the time, that is another example of having a primary feeling override everything else, and that is a symptom of postpartum depression. Other emotions that could be that primary feeling could be being scared all the time, and I think that can be very similar to anxiety. If you're constantly afraid and scared no matter what the situation, that could be a symptom of postpartum depression as well. Or even if you're just feeling meh, if your entire life is just meh, like you don't feel anything, a lack of emotions or a lack of excitement about anything, that could be another primary feeling that is taking over, because meh is an emotion, whatever it's actually called. And if that is taking over every aspect of your life, that would be a great time to go see a doctor and ask them, what can I do next? And let them know that you are feeling this and that you believe you need some help for it. Another thing to look out for as a symptom of postpartum depression is not feeling like yourself. And this one I think can go unnoticed, because when you are a new mom, you're not going to feel like yourself. The moment you gave birth or the moment you got your new child, you are a completely different person. Your whole life has changed. It has changed from being about you and your husband to being about this new baby. So yes, you're not going to feel exactly like yourself, but pay attention to that. How much of yourself do you feel like you've lost? Is it every part of yourself that you just don't even recognize who you are anymore, specifically in a negative way? Because that is a sign of postpartum depression. Do you feel like you can't enjoy the things you used to enjoy? That book or any book that you used to love, you just can't even sit down and read anymore. You used to love cooking and now you don't want to do it anymore. You used to enjoy going on walks with your dog and now you don't even want to leave the house. Pay attention to those things. It's normal to have some of that, especially when you have a newborn. It's hard to do the things you used to want to do, but pay attention to that. What about myself is different from before, and is any of that negatively affecting me? Adding on to that is loss of interest in things you used to enjoy. So that book or cooking or walking, loss of interest in things that you used to love doing and you just don't feel like doing anymore. And it can be really simple things like reading or cooking or walking, but it can also be your husband. The husband that you used to love, that you fell in love with, that you had a child with. Are you still interested in him? Have you lost interest in him to the point where you can't stand him? Have you lost interest in the other children in your house? Can you just not stand them? Do you not even care about what happens to them? It sounds really harsh, but those feelings are real. Women with postpartum depression can feel that way. They can feel like they don't care what happens to their husband or children or their house or their life or anything that's going on. They just don't care. That loss of interest. They don't care. I didn't care. And it sounds harsh, and you can feel horrible that you feel that way, but not be able to stop feeling that way. And that is a sign of postpartum depression. If that affects you, if you say, yes, I feel that way, go see your doctor. That is postpartum depression. This next thing on the list, I'm kind of going to lump a couple things together, but it's pretty much guilt or not feeling like you're enough. Which, if you're a mom and you tell me you've never struggled with guilt, I don't believe you. You probably have. Every woman, every person has guilt about something, and as moms especially, because we are just inundated with all the things we should be doing, guilt is an alarmingly large part of our life, and I think that needs to change, but that's a video for another time. If you are feeling guilt in the postpartum time period, pay attention to it again. Look at the things you're feeling guilty about. Are you feeling guilty that you can't spend as much time with your newborn because you have an older child? Are you feeling guilty that you're going to have to go to work soon, or that the house isn't as clean as it usually is, or that you're a couple loads behind on laundry? Those, I think, are more normal things to feel guilty about, not necessarily that they're a good thing to feel guilty about, but there are other things that people with postpartum depression will feel guilty about, and it's specifically about themselves. It's a negative self-talk kind of guilt. I feel guilty that I'm not enough for my baby. I feel guilty that I can't ever make her stop crying. I feel guilty that I'm just not a good enough mom. I feel guilty for even having this baby. I feel guilty for thinking I could be a mom, for thinking I can handle this. I feel bad that my baby's stuck with me. I feel guilty that I can't seem to love her, that I can't seem to do things right. If the guilt you're feeling revolves around negative self-talk and self-perception, it is most likely a symptom of postpartum depression, and you should check the other things on this list to see if you've got some of those too, because extreme guilt, especially when it's focused on yourself, can be a symptom of postpartum depression. The last thing I'm going to put on this list is feeling like you're an awful mom, like you aren't cut out for it, like you shouldn't have done this, regret, feeling like motherhood just isn't for you. I think at some point many moms will sense this or feel this. They'll think, man, did I do the right thing? Am I really cut out for this? But if you have postpartum depression, anxiety, or rage, you will feel this all the time. The extreme rage or sadness or anxiety or fear will lead you to think that you can't do this, that you shouldn't have done this, that you made a mistake, that, well, I guess I'm just not cut out for motherhood after all. And to me, that was the worst part about postpartum depression and rage. It was that I felt like I couldn't be a mom, like I wasn't supposed to be a mom, like being a mom was a mistake. All my life, I wanted to have children. That was like my biggest dream and desire for myself, was to have children and raise a family and be their mom and just love on them. That was my goal. So when I had Heidi and I just couldn't stand myself, I couldn't stand her, I couldn't stand anybody, I felt like a complete failure, and that was the worst. Waking up every day and realizing I'm a horrible mom, I shouldn't have done this, I guess I was wrong, maybe I'm not cut out for motherhood, Heidi deserves better than me, that is the worst feeling ever. And that is the feeling that can lead to suicidal thoughts in women with postpartum depression. The feeling that I'm not a good enough mother, I'm not cut out for this, my child would be better off with a different mother without me, my child would be better off without me. If you are thinking that, it is not true. In no universe would your child be better off without you, because you are its mother. You are your child's mother. And even when feelings of sadness and rage and anxiety and fear creep in and take over your life, that is not you. And if you feel like being a mom just wasn't for you, like you've screwed it all up, like you need to take it back, you need to change what happened and redo this whole thing, like your child deserves better than you. If you are feeling that, now is the time to see a doctor. Now is the time to pick up the phone, call your doctor and tell them, I think I have postpartum depression. It's scary. It's really scary to admit that, and it's hard to pick up the phone and say, I have postpartum depression. I guarantee you, you will be so happy that you did. You will. So if you are experiencing any of the things on this list, if you think I might be or I might be close to experiencing that, keep an eye out. Check these things, write all these down, check them daily, weekly, monthly, whenever you feel like you need to, and keep an eye on yourself. Give this list to your husband or your partner or your family member that is closest to you, whoever sees you the most, give this to them. Most of the time, it is very difficult to self-diagnose postpartum depression. But those closest to us who knew us the best beforehand are the most likely to notice that we have postpartum depression. So write this list down or screenshot it, give it to your whoever, significant other, family member who knows you the best, and say, hey, can you check me on this? Can you just keep an eye out for me and make sure that I'm doing okay? Because it can be hard. Postpartum depression lies to you. You lie to yourself about it. But having someone who knows you to keep you accountable can really help out. Thank you guys for joining me for this video. It's been on my heart a lot. I truly believe there's not enough information out there about postpartum depression, and it really gets under my skin because, doggone it, we are mothers and we go through so much, and we need the help. We need the help, especially when we're mentally sick. So thank you for watching. If you know a young mother or someone who's about to give birth, please share this video with them. It is not for my sake. Please share this video with your new moms for their sake. Even if you just tell them what the video was about. It is so important to take care of each other and look out for other young mothers. So let me know in the comments if this helped you, or if you know some other young mothers who this could help. You can tag each other and other moms in the links I post on Facebook and Instagram, and if you aren't following me on Instagram, you should. It's always linked below in the description box. My handle is @ARosaMiller. And then finally, you know the drill, those three little buttons, the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell icon. Those just tell me that you're watching my videos videos and that you enjoy them and that you want to see more, and subscribing and hitting that bell icon. Make sure you see every single one. I will post every Fridays, and I'm trying to post Wednesdays too if I have the time. Thank you guys again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!